An example of a conversation not enough couples are having to alleviate mental load on the person that holds most of it, which is usually the woman. So I'm just coming back from putting the goats to sleep. Now, normally as I'm walking back, I would go this way. I go around the fence, it's easiest. But recently we talked about the minimum standard of care of the pool, and we recognized that we wanted to turn off the filter for the pool after we'd fed the goats for the night. That requires going on the other side over there. Now, yesterday, as I was coming back to the house, Alyssa was watching me from the window because Everly was watching me from the window. And as I started to go in the direction towards the normal way, she pointed to motion for me to go to the other side. I proceeded to roll my eyes at myself because I was annoyed that I forgot. And then when I got back to her, I said, I kind of wish that you had not told me until I got back. You saw me making the mistake, but I wish I had made a little bit fuller of a mistake. So the pain of being like, oh man, I got to go back out there, got to walk all the way around the fence is just a tiny bit more painful that I'll remember next time. And so often I think one of the partners is doing us that little favor of not letting us make the mistake. And so in those early times where you're trying to form habits, we end up accidentally leaning on or purposefully leaning on the other person to bear the mental load of it. And the good news is today I actually remembered. And I think the reason I actually remembered is because by the time that I arrived to the slider door, I remembered the conversation we had the day before and then had to go walk back and do it. If we want to adjust habits appropriately, we need to be really mindful of the feedback loop in our brains so that we actually make the change that we want. And for us guys, too many of us are allowing that to be our partner helping us out. And women, I think too many of you are uncomfortable with us fully messing up, that you don't let it happen. And so then we end up leaning on you. I recommend setting a little bit more of that boundary, letting them fuck up a little bit fuller if you can, if it doesn't create problems, which for many women, bearing most of the mental load is probably a much higher percent of your problems than the ones that actually cause real harm. If you want help troubleshooting what's going on in your relationship, I invite you to schedule a one-on-one in my Stan store.